Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video. I'm talking about a newly shown Star Wars Day reveal. This time it's from Sideshow Collectibles, and it's the Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi 1 in 6 scale figures, but Clone Wars versions. So this is quite exciting. This is something I did not expect. This is kind of a new series for them, which is very cool. Sideshow does 1 in 6 scale figures. They just don't do it very often. I'd say reveal more statues than figures for sure. So it's always kind of a neat treat to get a new one from them, because sometimes they do something interesting, or at least different than what Hot Toys is doing, and that's the case here. So Hot Toys has been making Clone Wars figures, and they even showed one today, or Clone Wars adjacent, the Bad Batch. And the way that they do their figures is very strange from the Clone Wars. They take the Clone Wars designs of the clothing that they're wearing, and then they make it movie-fied. So they do the head sculpts of the actual actors from the movies on them, and then they put it in the Clone Wars costumes, but they also then detail the costumes realistic, like it's live action. So they take the Clone Wars design and they make it live action for the figure, which I always hated. I've never been a fan of it. I think that if you're a fan of Clone Wars, you like the design then. So you want your representation of a Clone Wars character to actually look like the Clone Wars character, instead of like a concept mashup between the Clone Wars and the movies. So I've never been a fan of what Hot Toys does. I find it very annoying. The only time that I think it is okay, although not preferred, is when they do clones, because you can obviously just have the helmet so you don't have to see the face sculpt, and then it feels a lot more just like the show. But for any character that has no way of hiding their face, it's just disappointing, because it's a weird design that I think most people wouldn't prefer. If you want to buy a Clone Wars figure, you probably want it to be a Clone Wars figure. So this from Sideshow is very exciting, because they are doing it like the actual design of the characters from the show, which is really neat. So to start off with, they're doing, your main two, Anakin and Obi-Wan, and they both look great. Now, Sideshow, of course, their quality of figure is never even close to Hot Toys, and sometimes they can look pretty good in the preview pictures, but Sideshow is kind of notorious for their preview pictures looking better than the final products. While Hot Toys, on the other hand, most of the time, their preview pictures are very similar, if not exact, to the final product. So that's disappointing. That, makes me a little wary about how these are actually going to turn out, if they're going to look this good. But just going based on the preview pictures, they look great. I think that the designs of them are wonderful. Face sculpt-wise, I think that they really nailed the animation look, especially with Anakin. I think Anakin really looks great. Obi-Wan looks really good. The costume designs, I think, are nice, and I like the proportions. They got those right, too. They not only did, your style as far as the colors and the simplicity of the costumes themselves, but they actually got the body structure correct. That's very thin. These Clone Wars characters, they get super thin around the wrists and the ankles, particularly. They have a very thin legs, especially when you get to the boots, because there's no bag of the actual clothing, so the boots are just kind of like skin tight, and they're just tiny, and you can really see that on both of these characters, which is accurate, which I like a lot. I also like the fact that their lightsabers have a point to them. If you notice, with the movie characters, the lightsabers are more rounded, but when it comes to the animated, they're designed and they're created to have a bit of a point, which I think looks really cool, and I like that they've kept that detail for the figure form. Overall, these figures look great articulation wise. Who knows how they'll be. The clothing, or at least the cloth that they're using, it looks like it's very pliable though, so hopefully articulation will be great, but of course until they're released, unseen at this point. Overall though, these figures look wonderful. Whether I plan to get them, probably not. I just don't need Clone Wars 1 in 6 scale figures unless they make characters that I just can't live without. So I'd be very interested to see an Ahsoka. I might be interested in purchasing that figure. Cad Bane as well. Cad Bane is one that I'd probably definitely get. So overall, I love this new series that they're doing. I hope they continue it. I think it's a way that they could actually rival Hot Toys, because although the product isn't going to be as high quality as Hot Toys, because the design is more simplistic, they might still just be able to nail it. If the final products really do look like this, they will have nailed it, in my opinion. And that would be fantastic, and I think it's something that, collectors are going to want more than what Hot Toys is doing, because if you wanted Hot Toys' version of these characters just buy the movie ones. There's no real reason to do their Clone Wars versions of them. They're just strange that way. But there you go. That's my thought on these new Sideshow Collectibles 1/6 scale Clone Wars figures. Let me know what you guys think of them, and thanks so much for watching.